Hello, and welcome back to Eye of the Beholder. It's been a while, but this time I had a good reason. I needed to resort my collection. Originally, I had it sorted by releases, i.e. all the Harbinger minis together, all the Tyranny of Dragons minis together, etc., etc. This made it extremely difficult to pull out the individual minis for these videos, not to mention when actually playing D&D. For example, if I'm running an orc encounter, I need to go through several boxes and drawers to pull out the minis I needed. So it took a few weeks to resort by type. Here, take a look. Here you can see I have all of my smalls and most of my mediums divided into small plastic boxes by type, and then when we get to the actual PCs, by race. As you can see, each box is marked at the top, showing me what's in each individual compartment. Over here, we have the mediums that don't fit in those little boxes, along with all the larges and the huges split up into smaller boxes, or in the case of the large and huge, these large cardboard boxes. As you can see, each box is marked by what's in each one, by type, and then by miniature. Finally, all of the large, colossal, gargantuan, etc., along with those that don't fit very conveniently inside of boxes, are up on my shelves. I call these my dragon shelves because obviously it's mostly dragons, although there are a few other things mixed in there as well. As you can see, my Neothelid is here, as well as a little orcas there hiding in the side. As you can imagine, this took a while. I currently have over 2,500 different types of miniatures spread across 49 different sets, plus several special releases and one-offs. Now throw in that I have multiple copies of most of the common and uncommon minis, you can conservatively quadruple the number of minis I actually have. So yeah, it took a minute. I've decided to skip over constructs for now. Don't worry, we'll circle back to them later. I'm going to do dragons. Oh, and here's another change. I'm going to go way shorter on these videos. By all measures, the most iconic creature in D&D is right in the name, the dragon. It appeared on the original red box version of the game, and dragons have made countless appearances since. Hell, TSR used to publish a monthly magazine about the game called The Dragon. Since the original Monster Manual's 10 iconic dragons appeared in 1977, 11 if you count the dragon turtle, we've had dozens of different dragons in all sizes and every hue. So rather than reviewing dragons alphabetically, I'm going to start with the chromatic dragons, move on to the metallics, and then the rest. And here we go. The black dragon is considered the most ill-tempered and cruel of the chromatic dragons. Residing in swamps and marshlands, these mostly solitary dragons prefer to rule with cunning and fear while remaining within their lair. That being said, they are highly territorial and will react with fury to anyone encroaching upon their domain. Final fun fact, if you saw the recent Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves movie, it was a black dragon featured in those battle scenes. We get our first black dragon in Wizards' second set, 2003's Dragon Eye. First off, Wizards gets a lot of miniature on a medium base. I really like the upright pose of the mini, showing off its amazing amount of detail, especially for an earlier one. I really like the way the tail wraps completely around the base. Nice work on the horns' head as well. Paint-wise, well, it's a black dragon, so it's mostly black. There is some nice, subtle shading on the wings, though. Playability is a bit limited as its size puts it somewhere between Wyrmling and Young Dragon, but it's cool as hell, so score is Paint 20, Pose 25, Playability 13, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 81. 3 years later, we get our first true black dragon Wyrmling in 2006's War of the Dragon Queen set. Paint is even more limited than on the previous mini, just black with a bit of white on the horns and claws. Pose-wise, with its front feet anchored on the base, it looks like it could be flying, but I would think the wings would be more spread out if that was the case. More likely it's just running to its mommy. Score: Paint 14, Pose 18, Playability 11, Pizzazz 11, for a score of 54. In 2006, Wizards released its very first special release, the Gargantuan Black Dragon. I love this upright pose. To me, this guy looks like he's in the middle of a fight with both forelegs in attack position and mouth agape in preparation for an acid blast. A lot of great subtle details as well. Note the spine sail on the neck, the forked tongue, the detailing scaling on the body, and the veiny wings. Paint is typical of a black dragon, with a whitish underbelly and horns, although with the added detail of black tips on its horns. If you have a final, huge boss black dragon encounter, this mini is a must-have, and let's face it, it's just the coolest. So yes, we are absolutely giving this mini a perfect 100 score. A year later, Wizards releases its first large black dragon in 2007's Unhallowed set. Called simply a large black dragon, it's again a mostly black paint job, but with a whitish underbelly to go with the horns and teeth. We also have something we don't have on any other black dragon mini, a row of white spines on the back of the neck. This is a very dynamic mini, pose-wise. Front foreleg raised, wings partially unfurled, and neck and head swung dramatically to the right. Great visage, too. Score: Paint 18, Pose 23, Playability 21, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 82. In 2008's Demon Web, we get a Black Dragon Lurker mini. This is almost a completely black mini, with even the underbelly, horns, and fangs closer to black than white. The pose definitely plays up to the lurker portion of its name. Body and head low to the ground, right foreleg raised as if creeping forward to ambush an unwary party, a favorite tactic of black dragons. Playability and pizzazz are about the same as the previous Unhallowed Black Dragon, so score is Paint 17, Pose 22, Playability 21, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 81. WizKids comes out strong, dragon-wise, right out of the gate in 2014 with the Tyranny of Dragons set and gives us a Shadow Black Dragon mini. As discussed in earlier videos, shadow creatures are either native to the Shadowfell or become so by spending too much time there, which is the case with this black dragon. The pose catches the dragon in full flight, wings completely extended and tail whipping behind it. Translucent plastic negates any discussion about paint, while playability is probably connected by how much time your players dally in or about the Shadowfell. So score is Paint 10, Pose 20, Playability 11, Pizzazz 18, for a score of 59. A year later, we get a smaller black dragon in 2015's Elemental Evil set. Like the earlier Dragon Eye mini, this guy is somewhere between Wyrmling and young. Paint is what it is, but WizKids gives us a new wrinkle with white tips on the wing bones and a pink mouth and tongue. Pose again catches the dragon in mid-flight, but with it tilted slightly downward gives the impression that it's swooping into attack. So despite its small size, I think it's playable and kind of cool. So the score is Paint 20, Pose 23, Playability 23, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 89. Two years later, we get another young black dragon in 2017's Monster Menagerie 2. This mini returns to the standard black body / white underbelly, horns, and fangs look. This one comes across smaller than the previous WOTC black dragons mounted on large bases,
but perhaps the fact that it's airborne is why it looks that way. Unlike the previous mini, this guy looks like he's pulling up mid-flight, perhaps about to unleash a stream of acid. I like it, but not quite as much as the previous one, so score is Paint 20, Pose 21, Playability 22, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 83. We get our second Black Dragon Wormling in 2022's Fizbane's Treasury of Dragons. And unlike the WOTC version that looked like it was running to hide behind its mommy, this guy is ready to rock, up on its hind legs, talons outstretched, mouth agape, and wings extended for balance. Paint is, well, you know. Let's talk playability. I can definitely see using this mini separately from a family unit, raising it up to defend itself against a party intent to take it alive. Score, Paint 18, Pose 23, Playability 16, Pizzazz 19, for a score of 76. We get our last Black Dragon in 2023's Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen set. And right off, you'll notice something different about this one. As anyone who has read the Dragonlance series, and if you're a fan of D&D or even just fantasy novels, you gotta read the Dragonlance series. It makes sense that this guy has obviously been domesticated, well, as much as a black dragon can be, with a red saddle and gunmetal gray armor. That's because, ta-da! A mounted rider can be added to the mini. Pose again catches the dragon in mid-flight. Playability is hands with the ability to add a dragon rider, and it's so cool. So score is Paint 24, Pose 22, Playability 22, Pizzazz 25, for a score of 93. And that's it for now. I told you these were going to be shorter. My plan is to have the next video of blue dragons up in a week or two, so if you have any feedback, please feel free to add it below. Thanks as always for watching Eye of the Beholder, and I'll see you soon.